Hello and welcome to the show. We are here today on Forza Horizon 4 with another team adventure. Today's is a little bit curious, shall we say. So we've built cars to B-class. However, the vehicles had to have a V8 engine, which is not always that easy to get in B-class, pretty much, because often if you're engine swapping a car, you'll have very little PI to play around with at all. A lot of these cars may well be stuck on fairly standard tyres, so yeah, how do you build them? I have gone for a Sunbeam Tiger, my thinking being is it starts with a V8. Now, it is not a particularly great engine, and I am not going to be very fast down the straights. I am well aware of that. I have a mere 217 horsepower, but I do have rally tyres, and my hope is that, well, plenty of vehicles won't have rally tyres, they won't have had the PI, which means when it gets to the twisty bits, I will be pretty good, because at the end of the day, I shall at least be a very lightweight car. You put rally tyres on a muscle car, and you don't get much PI for anything else. So, yeah, my hope is that I will be good enough in the corners, and that there'll be enough vehicles that are horrible handfuls that I should be able to score some good points for Red Team. That's the hope. I don't know whether that's what's going to happen or not. Especially when it comes off-road, I hope we can. Our team should do well. Ewan in the Land Rover is one to watch out for. That has potential to be very quick, depending on how things work. Pretty much. That could be very fast off-road because that's got the off-road like racing tyres, and it's all-wheel drive, which is better than me. That's a rear-wheel drive Sunbeam. Yeah, I mean, you can see me and the Sylvia ahead of how different our cars are built. That thing is unbelievably fast down that start-finish straight, but it is not going to be good through these corners. It's a lot more of a handful. And then the question is, what happens if it goes off-road? You know, what tyres is that thing on? If it's on street tyres, for example, which might be all it can get for the PI, that thing will not enjoy a trip to the dirt. We'll have a big dive, and that puts us up into 6th, and that does give us enough points here. Now, Chris leading the way is actually driving a Transit that I was not expecting to work in the slightest. It's the classic Transit as well, not even a modern Transit with a V8. So this is the classic Transit. Could be on... might be on rally tyres, I would Again, I would expect if you have the PI, you're more likely to put it on rally tyres than race, although you could, if you were brave, go just full madness on the race tyre builds to be super fast at the tarmac stuff. Oh, I think there was a kerfuffle between a couple of cars up ahead and in trying to let vehicles through. It's all got a bit messy, really, it's all a bit messy involving me in the middle of this as well. See, I know me and Clark's car are quite similarly built. We've both got about the same power. We've gone for the same strategy of let's stick some rally tyres on cars that had garbage V8s to begin with and hope that they can handle well enough to outstrip everything else. And I know that's a strange thing to say about a gremlin. I can never remember which way round it is. One of them's a fishbowl, one of them's that, and I always call them the wrong way round. The Gremser. I'm going to call it the Gremser. Sure, it's an AMC. Regardless, I kind of need 3rd at the moment, or we need... I need 3rd, we need the Transit to win, or someone further back to pick up 1 place. But Ewan has to stay ahead of the Sylvia if we are going to do this, and I need to gain a place. Ideally we need the Transit to win. Unfortunately, it's close. I don't know whether it is going to be enough. Off-road, I'll be curious to see. I believe the Gremser has bigger tyres than I do. It might be a better car on the dirt. We will have to wait and see. They are side by side for the lead. They could cause each other a lot of grief here, depending on how things go. In the end, it looks like, was it a Buick? I think Danger Man is driving. It looks like that's got the straight line speed. The Transit has the corner speed. I've brushed the wall there like an idiot. We are going to get... I mean, we're going to get destroyed down the straight. I might be able to fight back. It's close. I think it's quite enough from the Sunbeam. Can I look for a way past the Sylvia here? I mean, it can't take that speed. The thing is, I need to be far enough away by the final corner. We need the best lap we've done around this circuit, if I am going to keep that Nissan at bay by the start-finish line. And the thing is, it doesn't need to pass me here. It knows what it does here is irrelevant. It could fire up the inside. It could try and fire up the inside. It will never overtake me in the corner. It doesn't have to, but it might not wanted to have done that. Now, can Ewan get far enough away out of the final corner? Chris has got to the lead. This has been a lot of changing going on this final lap. I don't know if the Transit can't hold it to the finish line. Can me and Ewan hold off the Sylvia, though? That is now the bit that matters. I think something might have happened further back as well. I think Redline Prime might have got a position further back that may have changed it for us a bit as well, because it was looking very, very touch and go for a while. It's a 4th place in the end for the Sunbeam, which I'm not too displeased with. As well. The Transit could only manage 2nd, but fought valiantly up at the front. The Buick takes victory from the Gremlin. It was the Gremlin. I always get the two damn things confused. Sylvia a little bit unlucky, just couldn't get it stopped into a corner and lost out on that final lap. Good first round. Helped by us winning, but in general a good first round. So, up next we head off-road. The Ambleside Scramble is a very, very intricate, very technical off-road circuit. One that, well, we expect the Land Rover to be good at, being all-wheel drive and everything. If you don't have rally tyres, it's gonna show. Here, this is a full dirt circuit. There is no there is no lovely safe tarmac to plonk your car on. It looks like that Shelby may well not be on rally tyres. It did not get going. Pretty sure the Gullwing might have a lot of power. It might even be all-wheel drive, but it's pretty sure that's on standard tyres. So that is not going to have a fun time around this one whatsoever. We're going to try not go too sideways through here. Now, in B-Class, being two-wheel drive isn't always the worst thing in the world when it comes to heading off-road. The fact of the matter is you can get away with two-wheel drive cars. Like Mugen, that I love so very much, that will work in B-Class as a front-wheel drive. So it's not like I'm immediately going to be outclassed. Even at what is a more technical circuit, I'm not necessarily going to be immediately outclassed by the Range Rover. But, you know, we would expect it. It has got better tyres for this, and I probably won't put up too much of a fight if it looks like it's quicker. I'm happy to let the Range go, run away from Clark, because at the end of the day we need the points. We want a 1-2 here. I don't necessarily want to I don't want to slow down. I don't want to let the thing past. Don't want to let that past. So if the Land Rover, you know, it clears off into the distance a little bit, that's fine by me. The Transit is... Oh, it was actually a little bit far. The Transit's fallen quite a long way down. It was up in 4th, but it seems to have vanished now. We might have to try and... that's why. It's a checkpoint. Explain why it's plummeted down the order. We might have to defend a little bit from Clark if we can, if we have the machine to do it. I would like bigger tyres on the back of the Sunbeam, I'm not going to lie. I'm fairly sure the Gremlin gets... I think it's like 285s or something. It gets some pretty big tyres, I believe, on that car. And I've got 245s, which are not big on the Sunbeam. They're really not the largest of tyres. I mean, this off-road section is good for us. This off-road circuit apparently is pretty good for Red Team on the old points front, at least. There are a couple of Blue Team cars that just aren't working. Now, there is, safe to say, about 3 cars at the front that are very quick here. Me and Clark are really the only ones that have any sort of answer for the Land Rover, and even then we don't really have much of one. But there's a big gap behind us to the rest of the field. This is kind of what we expected a little bit with this. We kind of expected the way that you have to build a car for this. This is a very, very restrictive scenario. So you are likely to get some funnier builds and stuff that doesn't necessarily work everywhere. It's kind of just make something that can score consistently as well as possible, which is why I went for the Tiger. That Cobra is having a rotten time if it's got a lap down already. It's just not working on the gravel. We managed to stem the onslaught of the AMC. It looked close, it looked scary for a lap. I think we might be slightly better at this sort of circuit as Ewan continues to pull away. Are we going to see another? There's another. Quark might end up going a lap down as well before the end of this race. Yeah, their cars are not enjoying it. I guess if they're two-wheel drive and not on rally tyres, the all-wheel drive cars on standards might just about survive. But yeah, the two-wheel drive ones are not enjoying life. The Transit's climbed back up to 4th again. I know that is all-wheel drive. I don't know what tyres it's on. We get a 2nd. I'm not displeased with that at all. We're the best of the rest behind the the Land Rover that was always likely to be very, very good at that sort of circuit. I'll take best of the rest ahead of the Gremlin. The Transit will take 4th ahead of the Sylvia. I'm actually surprised to see the Sylvia up there, considering we saw that was a brutal speed car. So that was a lot of control and composure required, I suspect, to get that to stay in one piece. But there we go. A solid second race and a good victory for Red Team. So we head to a street circuit next, the Edinburgh Station Circuit. Who knows what's going to be fast here? I genuinely don't know. It is a smaller track, perhaps, than some. There are plenty of small straights, though. I fear my Sunbeam is going to be woefully underpowered, and Forza's forgotten how to do teams for the 2nd time today. Amazing stuff. Well, we are going to do what we can. We're going to try and score as many points as possible for Red Team. Hope that the Tiger works around this track. Oh, bloody hell. Let's not go visit too much of that scenery. Yeah, this is probably not my best environment. We'll have to wait and see. It did better at the first circuit, the Broadway circuit, than I thought it might do. So, you know, there's a chance. There's always a chance we might not be entirely useless. There's a Cuda out very, very wide. So I can carry a lot of speed through that corner. There's a couple of turns that we are going to be very fast at. And probably how well I do is going to depend on how much traffic I hit. Like, if I can get to these turns and I can carry the sort of speed I want to carry through them, I might be alright. However, if I get stuck in traffic so I can't carry any speed through the important corners and then get murdered on the straights, it might become a long race, but it won't be the first time I've had that happen either. There was a little bit of a jittery lag, and that has kind of got me past the Gremlin that I think got kind of lagged backwards. We're going to try and get slowed down. I haven't really got anywhere to go, that's the problem. Clark is pushing around the lampposts. I really want to get through this group, which I might be able to do if they all stumble themselves out wide. I'll take my opportunities. Oh, our Land Rover's missed a checkpoint. That's going to put the range a fair way down. Oh, I got screwed by the street furniture. I think Clark thought they'd lag killed me. When actually a street furniture was waiting to let me back through it. It's all got very scruffy at this particular section. Yeah, that was a bit of street furniture pushed from the Gremlin, pushed my car into a wall. Which is, oh, and Blue Team have friendly fired themselves into oblivion. That is not what you needed. That is really not what Blue Team needed in this one. What is probably one of their faster cars, ending up in a wall. I don't know whether the Buick realised that car was there. It certainly wouldn't have wanted to do that to its teammates. Oops, for Blue Team. Helps me out. Helps me out a lot. It has, well, the pack is a little more spread out now. It might give me a run at 2nd without fear of immediate battling, basically, from behind. It's funny watching the Buick. It's just so struggling through these corners, and I can throw the Sunbeam about, no problems whatsoever. Transit is surprisingly bloody good here. Through the railings goes the Buick. I'll again carry mega speed. Can I do anything with it, though? Here? Probably not. We'll let the Buick take out the bollards because I don't want to fight it. We will drive through the Buick. What? Oh, we got jitteries again going on. I mean, it meant I didn't have to slow down. It didn't lose that immense run I had. Oh, thought about it. Almost got it around the outside as well. It almost worked. Again, now this is the problem bit. This is exactly what I was talking about at the start. I can be very fast around these corners, but what I can't afford is to get stuck. If I get stuck in this manner, I have trouble. Because my lap time is gained in one way, and that lap time can be affected by the Buick, whereas I can't really affect the Buick's lap time. I think I am closer this time around. I think I am closer to the point where I might just be able to go, you know what, nah, I can carry the speed there, but it's too far away to get a pass done. The Transit's enjoying this. The Transit, you know, will pull away while we fight. My hope is I can compromise the Buick enough that it will now be slow. In fact, we are now far enough alongside. I'm going to have a dive up the inside. There's no way that Buick is going to be able to do much about the speed of the Sunbeam through the corners. I'm impressed with this car. I didn't really know whether it was going to work or not. It has worked. You know, I had an idea going into this. It has worked how I had expected. It's worked in the way I had expected it. I just didn't know whether it was going to be competitive enough in these events, if you will. Would have been interesting to see if I'd managed to get to the Transit, see if I could match that for lap pace around here. But sadly, we don't get to see, I talk about this regularly with the Team Adventures, I'd love to be able to see lap times at the end of them, but you never do. I would be curious to know, do I have a lap speed advantage over the Transit on a, you know, on that best lap? Because we spent too long fighting the Buick to actually reel it in, and the Transit's had a really shonky final lap, taking out just about every bit of street furniture it can. I appreciate the effort for clearing the path for me here, but yeah, it won't help the Transit's lap time. In fact, the Transit's had an absolutely shocking final lap. This has put me in place to almost be able to try and find a way past if an opportunity arose. It's more important we get a 1-2, but if there's a chance for the Sunbeam, I'm not going to turn it down. I think the Transit will be too quick for me down the straights. And sure enough, I'm stuck with nowhere to go there. I might hopefully be far enough away from the Buick. There's a little bit of lag as well, which is less than ideal. I will be far enough away from that Buick. It won't be able to make anything happen into the final corner. It's not got the brakes to, even if it was side by side, it couldn't outbrake me, let alone have a dive from further back. The Transit will win, but it's had trouble on that final lap. We will claim a second. It was a good run to second, nevertheless, though, for my Sunbeam. Actually, points-wise was very close. Blue team getting third, fourth, and sixth. Scored them some nice points in that one. They got close at the end. So it was important I held off the Buick. It was important we got a victory. I'm actually quite pleased with the Sunbeam. Sadly, Ewan's missed checkpoint did kind of screw the Range Rover over in that one. So we head to the Highland Farm Scramble up next. I am curious to see what the Sunbeam might do. I think it's a little too fast around here. This is a predominantly dirt circuit, but it is a very fast dirt circuit at that. So I don't know. Some of the power cars will enjoy this to an extent, but it really is a to an extent kind of a moment, because of course they won't have any grip. The Land Rover you'd expect to be fast, however, is also possible will be quite aero limited. It's a big brick at the end of the day. If anything, the Gremlin may stand even a better chance than me. We clearly had the right tyres for the technical circuit. I think that Gremlin's faster in a straight line. So I think we might see the Gremlin take a victory. I think we might see the Gremlin do well here, or I could be wrong about the Land Rover and that turn out to be a lot better than expected in terms of top end. Now the issue for me, of course, we've started much further back this time around. I have to carve through the traffic, not always so straightforward. This circuit being a lot faster, the rally tyres are less of an important factor. It's still very, very helpful to have, but an all-wheel drive car on other tyres might just about work, or a very, very big tyred vehicle. Interestingly, the Gremlin seems to have run out of top end at about 120. We have been catching it. Still we're suffering from a little bit of, and that will be on my end, I would suspect, because it's been multiple cars jittering around rather than just one particular car. I didn't do that. They did that on their own. I was a long way, unless I did lag jitter into them. If I did, and then I do apologise. But I'm pretty sure they did that one on their own there. We just hold down the throttle and hope for the best through this section. Not very much more we can do. Transit is working very well. Once again, we will get past the big Cuda. That'll get us no more points, but it gets us up another position. Cuda will have a look, it won't matter because it's never going to take that corner at the sort of speeds we can in the rally-tired machine. It is close though, blue team are close. I mean, if they, the problem is 2 blue team cars don't work off-road, which means they are forever stuck giving us 200 points for all of our lower down cars, because all of our cars are at least half competent on the dirt, and that might be in the end what kills blue team. That is the way it goes sometimes. It's always said with these team adventures, you know, we cover multiple surfaces. The cars will go on the dirt, on the gravel, and if the car doesn't work there and you can't score points, you better hope A, it wins everything on the bloody tarmac, or that your team can cover it. And well, in this case it seems like they are struggling, although it is going to be very, very close. I would really like to be a part of this group up ahead, but I am struggling a little bit to get the Sunbeam. The engine in this is not good, I'll be honest with you. The engine in this is just not very good, and this is a circuit that's quite nice to have a bit of oomph about it. We have got the Land Rover up into second, which is nice. Set at 6th, I'm at least scoring some points, and it's not entirely impossible for me to get some more if we have a good run. Certainly Danger Man's struggling with that big Buick. He's just not enjoying the dirt. Clark is moving up positions ahead in that Gremlin. I'm very impressed with the Transit being able to maintain the speed. We always expected that Land Rover to be good at this sort of event and be good at, you know, the Ambleside scramble and all that. We'll pass the Buick as it can't take. It might have the power, the straight line speed to fend off the Sunbeam, but it will struggle on these dirt corners. Now, don't brush the wall. As tempting as it is to get on that throttle super early, you do not want to put your car in the wall with a lap and a bit to go. That would not go well. Just we're starting to reel in the pack up ahead here. Yeah, don't do something silly pretty much. Do we want a 5th gear? Sure, we'll go with that. Oh, that's a really big fight over second place currently going on. Clark's had a huge dive but can't really stop it into turn 1. Will the Land Rover have the acceleration to fight back past the Gremlin? Yes, it will. There goes a Sylvia with all the straight line speed but no control in it. If you lot stumble over one another, there might be some pieces for me to pick up. There might be almost a podium in the offing if you guys stumble over each other too much in all of this. I've just got to run it clean, which we have done so far. Sylvia's very sideways, just about clinging on to the road. Gremlin thinks about having a dive. Of course, they're all taking now those slightly compromised lines. I'm not. My car's just not as good full stop here. Can we have a good run through this section? That's what we need. The Gremlin's on the outside as they bang doors once more. I think the Sylvia might be good for second. It looks like the Land Rover is going to get third. We might actually get the Gremlin. It might have lost too much speed on the run towards the finish line. Hopefully Forza doesn't screw us out of a finishing position. We will have to wait and see, though, on that one. It doesn't this time around. Ooh, we snuck a 4th. Clark lost out big time in the fight with the Range Rover. Just could not keep the thing alongside. The Transit wins again. The Power Sylvia gets second. As I said, I don't think that's on rally tyres. I could be wrong, but I don't think it was. It just had enough straight line speed to be okay around here. The Range Rover, that's take a 3rd. We kept our nose clean. We stayed out of trouble, and that is enough to get the Sunbeam up to a 4th place. I'm quite enjoying this car, I'll be honest. So we head to the Greendale Club Circuit for our final race. The Sunbeam doing relatively well here. This track itself, though, may not. I'm sort of starting right at the very back for Red Team. It's got to have a lot of work to do. This track may not really work for me. We didn't really like the straight line speed stuff, and while the wibbly, twisty back section will be okay, yeah, this probably not the most fun. However, it's again scoring points. Make sure we can score just enough points to keep Red Team winning. I mean, we have one, but just to to win this round. We want to get another round win, of course we do. Yeah, just score enough points might be what we can do here. you never know. I've had weird cars work on tracks that cars shouldn't do before. It's just sometimes the quirk of the quirk of Forza and the quirks of we make funny rule sets. And I say we will make funny rule sets. We'll run particular categories that you wouldn't normally. This would not be a normal B-class car. I would not recommend this as a normal B-class car. To be fair, most of these I wouldn't. Most of these are probably not all that great, but you have to make the most of the rule set that you have. Certainly, if I turned up with my favourite Bentley or something, that's, you know, it's going to work probably better than almost all of these cars. However, that's got a i6, I think, in it. So, yeah, you got to make the most of stuff. And as I say, I'm not displeased. This bit though will not be good for me. My lack of power, 217 horsepower, is not much in this field. It will be, I think it is the least powerful car. The Gremlin's about 230. It's not much less than me. The Land Rover might not have all that much either, actually. That's another car that's probably not enjoying this track. The Land Rover, it might have a touch bit more power, but it's also heavier, and, I mean, it's a box. The Sunbeam's not exactly the... Well, it's not ultra slippery through the air, the Tiger, but it's going to be a lot better than a box. So there is that. If I could get behind the Land Rover, have that cut me a big old hole in the air, it'd be rather nice, really, wouldn't it? We might actually get to the inside of it. This won't matter, the pass on the Buick. It will go soaring back past us down the back straight, and there is nothing I can do. But we have got, I'm kind of surprised, actually, that we're getting far enough away. Like, I know this track is... I say it's not all pure straight line speed. Yes, of course, there is always that twisty back section, back half of the lap, if you like. But I kind of expected it to be so slow in a straight that it just wouldn't work at all. But maybe there's another podium available here if we get everything right. If we don't fall over the Land Rover. Might be able to sneak up the inside of the Land Rover here. Oh, there was no contact made. It got very close. And I've struggled to get going out of the corner, but no contact was made in getting that pass completed. Can we now find a way past the Buick? That is where it's going to be difficult, I suspect. Oh, we'll have a go. You see, we'll get to the inside. The Land Rover wants to follow as well. We'll do this battle. I've done this battle a few... Oh, the Land Rover has clipped the wall. Okay, that's helped me. I was about to say we'll do this battle where you you swap positions every lap, but it changes at what point the speed car gets past you on the straight. However, that's all got a bit skewed with Land Rover tangling. Here comes that Hemi Cuda with so much straight line speed, but it can't make this corner. It will never carry that sort of speed into the corner, so it actually backs out of it and decides not to have an argument with a teammate, which is fair enough. Come on now, Sunbeam. There we go. Clark's got to the lead with that Gremlin. I don't know whether you see the Transit might well out-accelerate us, but that's also got the same aero-related issues that we have seen from a few of the cars. Hell, I've had it again with my Bentley that I like in B-Class so much. That is another one that really 115 is about what you get out of it, maybe 120, but it really struggles after that point. The Gremlin's long gone in this one. It looks like the Transit might not be able to claim another win. We are possibly going to be in a fairly lonely third place. We are possibly just going to sit around here in third. The Cuda will catch and then can't do anything in turn one and is too far back through the rest of the lap. I probably very similar lap times to the Transit, won't catch it in this remaining lap barring a big mistake. Gremlin's faster and then we're quicker than the rest. So it turns out it's really been the sensible cars that have been the way to go here. I say sensible, but the ludicrous cars have just not been good enough at the time. The cars that always were going to be terrible on the dirt haven't really been fast enough or good enough handling here. If you went for the big V8 with the standard tyres in the hope of having the straight line speed. The straight line speed is great occasionally, but it's often not really enough to carry you through a race like this one. And I say the sensible cars as a Gremlin takes victory from a Transit and a Sunbeam Tiger in third as a weird sort of podium, but they were the more sensible built cars. we had some actually very good racing in that one. We will take victory. The points were screwed. Teams got skewed and got messed up, and that did not particularly help matters in all of this. It didn't help Blue Team that they had 2 cars that just didn't work off-road. That made life a little bit difficult. The Range Rover was not quite as fast as we expected, perhaps. It was good on the dirt if it could sort of stay out of trouble. But there we go. Red Team is going to take the victory in this one. It is a 5-0 victory. It's perhaps a little harsh on the old entry. And Blue Team had a couple of good rounds they could have been involved, and we had a messed up scoring again from the game. I'm quite happy with how my Sunbeam turned out, I have to say. I really did think it was not necessarily going to work, but I am glad to see that that it does. That, though, is going to be it for this video. I thank you all very much for watching, and if you would like to take part in the next one of these, you can sign up via our forums. There'll be a link in the description. Find the FailRace versus the community section, and you can sign up in there. That, though, shall be it from me. Until next time, goodbye.